The world can be a beautiful place. Sunrises paint the sky with breathtaking colors. Children's laughter fills the air with pure joy. Acts of kindness, big and small, remind us of the inherent goodness in humanity. Yet, alongside this beauty, we also encounter suffering. We see it in the eyes of a grieving parent, the pain of a broken relationship, the despair of a lost job. Suffering is an undeniable reality, a universal language that transcends cultures and generations. It leaves us asking why? Where is God in the midst of our pain? Despite its grip, suffering does not have the final word. Throughout history, we witness stories of resilience, of hope blossoming in the cracks of despair. We see individuals and communities rising from the ashes, their spirits unbroken, their faith strengthened. These stories remind us that even in our darkest moments, we are not alone. There is a God who sees, who understands, and who walks with us through our pain. This video explores the complex relationship between a loving God and the reality of suffering, offering not easy answers, but a framework for understanding and hope. The question of suffering has plagued humanity since our earliest days. The Bible, in its honesty and wisdom, doesn't shy away from this difficult subject. Rather, it confronts it head-on, offering us a lens through which to view our pain. In the Garden of Eden, we see the origin of suffering. Genesis chapter 3, verses 16 to 17, describe the consequence of humanity's choice to disobey God. Pain enters the world, impacting both individuals and the created order. Work becomes toil, relationships become strained, and death casts its long shadow. This passage is not meant to place blame, but to illustrate a fundamental truth. Suffering is a result of our broken relationship with God. When we choose to live outside of His design, we experience the natural consequences of our actions. Sin, like a stone thrown into a still pond, creates ripples of pain that spread far and wide. Yet even in this account of brokenness, there is a glimmer of hope. God does not abandon Adam and Eve in their sin. He promises redemption, hinting at a future where the effects of the fall will be reversed. To understand suffering, we must grapple with the concept of free will. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19 states, "I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live." God, in His infinite love, grants us the freedom to choose. This gift of free will, however, comes with a profound responsibility. We have the capacity to choose good, to reflect God's love in our actions. Yet we also have the capacity to choose evil, to inflict pain upon ourselves and others. It is within this tension that much of human suffering originates. Wars, violence, greed, and injustice are all consequences of our misuse of free will. These are not punishments from God, but the bitter fruits of our own choices. However, God does not remain aloof from the suffering caused by our freedom. He grieves with us, weeps with us, and works tirelessly to redeem even our most broken choices. His love is not contingent on our perfection, but on His unwavering commitment to our ultimate good. In the midst of suffering, it's easy to feel alone. We may wonder where God is, why He allows pain to persist. Yet the Bible assures us that God is not distant or indifferent to our suffering. He is a God who weeps with us. Psalm 34:18 proclaims, "The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit." This verse paints a powerful image of a God who draws close to us in our pain. He doesn't offer platitudes or easy answers. He enters into our suffering, offering comfort, strength, and unwavering presence. Throughout the Bible, we encounter stories of God's empathy for human suffering. He hears the cries of the Israelites enslaved in Egypt. He mourns with Job in the midst of his unimaginable losses. He weeps at the tomb of Lazarus. These stories remind us that God is not detached from our pain. He is a God of compassion who understands the depths of human suffering because He has experienced it Himself in the person of Jesus Christ. While we may never fully comprehend the reasons for suffering, we can trust that God uses even our most painful experiences for our ultimate good. Romans 8:28 reminds us, "And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose. Suffering, though unwelcome, can become a crucible for growth. It can refine our character, deepen our faith, and cultivate within us a greater capacity for empathy and compassion. Like a seed buried in the darkness of the earth, suffering can lead to unexpected beauty and growth. Through trials, we learn to rely more fully on God, discovering hidden reservoirs of strength we never knew we possessed. We develop a deeper understanding of our own limitations, leading us to greater dependence on God's grace. Suffering can also foster a sense of community as we come alongside others who are hurting, offering support and encouragement drawn from our own experiences. In the face of suffering, our human perspective is limited. We see only a fragment of the story, a snapshot in time. Yet, the Bible offers us an eternal perspective, reminding us that our present suffering is not the end of the story. Jesus, in John 16:33, reassures his disciples, "I've said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world." These words offer comfort and hope, reminding us that while suffering is a reality in this broken world, it is not our ultimate reality. Through Christ's victory over sin and death, we have the promise of a future where suffering will be no more. Revelation 21:4 describes this future hope. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning nor crying, nor pain any more, for the former things have passed away. This hope of eternity does not negate the very real pain we experience in the present. However, it does offer us an anchor for our souls, a reminder that our suffering is temporary, and that a day is coming when all will be made right. The question of suffering is not one we can answer with easy solutions or trite explanations. It is a journey of faith, a process of wrestling with God, even in the midst of our pain. As we journey through the valley of suffering, let us remember these truths. First, we are not alone. God is with us. Even in our darkest moments, he sees our pain, hears our cries, and offers comfort, strength, and unwavering presence. Second, there is purpose in our pain. While we may not always understand it, God can use even our most difficult experiences to shape us, refine us, and draw us closer to himself. Finally, our hope is not found in this world, but in the world to come. In Christ, we have the promise of a future free from suffering, where all will be made new. As you navigate the complexities of suffering, may you find comfort in God's presence, purpose in your pain, and hope in the promise of eternity. May you cling to the truth that even in the midst of life's storms, God is faithful and his love endures forever. What are your thoughts about this? Share your perspective below. And don't forget to like, share, and follow for more biblical answers to life's tough questions.